The leak wasn't an accident. Classified test results from 2021 suddenly surfaced just as Prime Minister Mark Carney reviews the entire F-35 deal, 95% versus 33%. The F-35 dominated the Gripen in every category. Case closed. Except Ottawa is ignoring the scores and buying Swedish anyway. The Department of National Defense just launched a formal investigation. Someone inside the government wants the truth out, and someone else is furious that it leaked. This is how a $27 billion deal collapses from the inside. November 2025. Unpublished data obtained by CBC and Radio Canada showed the American-built Lockheed Martin F-35 had a considerable lead during the technical competition over the Gripen manufactured by Sweden-based Saab. The numbers were devastating. The F-35 got a score of 95% on military capabilities with 57.1 points out of 60, while the Gripen E finished with 33%, netting 19.8 points out of 60. Mission performance, the gap was particularly significant. Upgradability, the F-35 crushed it. The color-coded table showed the F-35 in inviting green, head and shoulders above the Gripen. David Perry, president of the Canadian Global Affairs Institute, said in an interview that the capability assessment says there is a clear-cut winner, no contest, no ambiguity. Former Royal Canadian Air Force Lieutenant General Yvon Blondin stated, "When you compare them, they're not even close. The F-35 is the best fighter jet in the world by far." But then the Department of National Defense did something shocking. The Department of National Defense has launched an internal investigation into the leak of confidential data from the technical competition between the two fighter jets vying to replace Canada's CF-18 fleet. Commercial information related to any solicitation process is considered protected information, said Department of National Defense spokesperson André-Anne Poulin, adding, "We are currently in the early stages of an investigation. Someone leaked classified information designed to kill the Gripen debate forever, and Ottawa is hunting them down." But then came the counter-leak. January 28, 2026. According to a National Post op-ed, Canadian defense planners are considering procuring a mixed fleet of fighter aircraft, with Canada potentially procuring no more than 40 F-35s instead of the 88 originally planned. The National Post column by John Ivison cited unnamed sources, arguing that Ottawa is unlikely to follow through on the full 88-jet F-35 plan, and instead could buy fewer F-35s while adding the Gripen E as a second type. Canada might instead purchase up to 80 of Saab's JS-39E Gripen fighter. Unnamed sources in the Canadian Defence Forces told the National Post that under the plan being proposed, half of the sum spent to procure Canada's future jet fighter fleet would go towards Swedish aircraft. Canadian Defence Minister David McGuinty said no final decision has been made. But the leak told a different story. Internal government sources were confirming what Pentagon feared most. The F-35 deal was collapsing, and even devastating test scores couldn't save it. The most likely scenario is that Canada will buy around 40 F-35s and complement them with up to 80 Saab Gripens made in Quebec. This wasn't speculation anymore. This was policy leaking out before the official announcement. Two competing factions inside Ottawa using classified leaks as weapons. The numbers tell the story of a deal in freefall. In 2022, the government awarded the CF-18 replacement contract to Lockheed Martin. Original plan? 88 F-35s for 19 billion Canadian dollars. Reality: the F-35 contract is now worth $27 billion, with all costs included. Under the terms of the F-35 program partnering arrangement, Canada is only obligated to acquire 16 F-35A aircraft, with the remaining 72 awaiting Prime Minister Mark Carney's decision. Only 16 jets funded and in production. The remaining 72 under review. That's not a review. That's a cancellation in slow motion. The snag is that the Block 4 upgrade is more than 5 years late and over $6 billion above budget. The F-35 scored 100% on upgradability for a system that's $6 billion over budget and 5 years late. According to a June 2025 study, the F-35 achieves mission-capable status between 50 and 60% of the time, well short of the Gripen's 80 to 90% availability rate. The leaked chart gave the F-35 85% on sustainment, the Gripen 81%. Almost identical, but real-world mission-capable rates tell a completely different story. Someone designed that test to favor American capabilities, and now Ottawa knows it. The political firestorm exposed who controls Canada's defense policy. A recent EcoS poll indicated that a plurality of Canadians favors future purchases of the Gripen over the F-35. 72% of Canadians support Gripen integration. Only 13% want F-35 only. The public has spoken, but the military establishment fought back. Defense industry analysts point out that the leaked document was so confidential that even Saab had never seen it before, suggesting certain individuals within the DND and RCAF wanted to pressure Carney to decide in favor of the US-made fifth-generation fighter jet. The leak was a coordinated pressure campaign. A security expert says the leak seemed designed to bolster the message of F-35 advocates, given that many details about the 2021 competition were missing. But it backfired. Former Lieutenant General Yvon Blondin said the investigation into the leak is more about sending a message within government than finding the people responsible. The same general who once called the F-35 unbeatable? Recently, former General Blondin has done several interviews saying Canada should only accept one squadron of F-35A fighters and the rest should be Gripen. He flipped, because the test was rigged from the start. What the leaks really expose is a battle for Canada's defense future. The first leak, pro-F-35 faction showing capability dominance with color-coded charts and devastating scores. The goal? Kill the Gripen debate with classified proof. The second leak? Pro-Gripen faction revealing the mixed fleet decision already made. The Department of National Defense investigation targets the leakers, but the damage is done. The chart is 4 years old. It predates Block 4 problems. It predates advanced Gripen E improvements. Retired officer Charles Duff Sullivan argued the Air Force has long wanted the F-35, and that the criteria used in the 2021 competition favored the aircraft. Missing from the chart? Real-world interoperability, industrial benefits, and sovereignty concerns. In his World Economic Forum address on January 20, 2026, Carney argued that allies will diversify to hedge against uncertainty. The real question isn't best aircraft, it's best package for Canada. 2 leaks, 2 narratives, 1 collapsing deal. Classified data weaponized by competing factions inside Canada's defense establishment. Ottawa knows the Gripen scored 33% in 2021, and they're buying it anyway, because politics just killed capability, and someone inside the Department of National Defense is furious enough to expose it. Which leak tells the real story? The test scores showing F-35 dominance or the insider sources revealing the mixed fleet already decided? Drop your analysis below. Subscribe because more classified data is coming and this investigation is about to expose who's really running Canada's defense policy.